Night, my own family pushed me out into the snow with nothing but a half-broken suitcase. The dining room had been warm, golden, full of the smells of roasted chicken and cinnamon bread, but the moment my father pointed to the door, the warmth vanished. "Get out," he said quietly, the kind of quiet that comes from final decisions. My mother didn't look at me. My sister did. She leaned back in her chair, lips curling. "Let's see how you manage," she smirked, lifting her wine glass like she was toasting my downfall. They didn't even let me take a coat. The snow outside swallowed the door as it shut behind me. Within minutes, my fingers burned, my toes went numb, and the bench at the bus stop felt colder than the ice forming on my lashes. I pulled my knees to my chest, praying my tears wouldn't freeze on my face. That's when I saw her. A woman, barefoot in the snow. Her skin was purple from cold, her hands shaking violently, her hair clinging to her face. She looked at me like she wasn't sure I was real. Without thinking, I slipped off my winter boots and handed them to her. My toes hit the ice, but her eyes softened as if she'd never been shown kindness before. She whispered, "Thank you." 1 hour later, headlights appeared, 20, maybe more. 19 black BMWs surrounded the bench in complete silence. And the barefoot woman stepped forward, ready to speak a sentence that would change everything. Engines hummed around me, low and synchronized, like a warning wrapped in luxury. 19 black BMWs formed a perfect circle in the snow, their headlights flooding the icy street with white fire. The woman, now wearing my boots, stood at the center. But she didn't look cold anymore. Her back straightened, her shoulders lifted, and something in her presence shifted from fragile to formidable. A man in a long black coat stepped out of the lead car and lowered his head to her. Lowered his head to her. Others followed, forming a line before her, waiting, not to command, but to listen. I blinked, frozen more from shock than the weather. The woman turned to me, her voice no longer trembling. "This is her?" she asked the man. He nodded. Then she approached me slowly, her footprints sinking softly into the snow. Up close, her eyes weren't desperate anymore. They were sharp, evaluating. "Do you know who I am?" she asked. I shook my head. A faint smile touched her lips, not mocking, not cruel, but knowing. The 19 men behind her straightened, as if bracing for a command. She leaned in and spoke the sentence that made my heartbeat stop. "You gave your last warmth to the wrong woman, or maybe the right one, because I'm not homeless. I'm the air they've searched for years to find." My breath fogged in the cold air. "Air? Searched?" Her next words dropped like snow-heavy branches breaking. "And from this moment on, you're coming with me." Her words hung in the frozen air, unreal and heavy, like the moment before a storm breaks. "You're coming with me." I stared at her, my breath trembling out in white clouds. Everything about her had transformed, her posture, her tone, the unwavering authority in her eyes. She wasn't the trembling, purple-faced woman from an hour ago. One of the men opened the back door of a BMW, waiting silently. I stepped back. "Wait, why me? I don't know you." Her expression softened, almost gently. "You don't need to. Not yet." "Not yet?" She walked closer and lowered her voice, so only I could hear. "I have everything, power, loyalty, resources, but tonight, you gave me something none of them ever could." I swallowed hard. "What?" Her gaze flickered with something raw. "A choice." And kindness, without expecting anything in return. Behind her, the men watched with disciplined stillness, but their eyes were filled with curiosity, as if I were the anomaly, not her. I hugged my thin sweater to my body. The cold gnawed at my bones, but the shock drowned most of it out. She glanced at my bare feet, still pressed into the ice. "Get in the car, Marin. Your life is about to change." Hearing my name from her lips made something inside me wobble. How do you know my name?" She smiled, small, knowing, unsettling. "Because you're not here by accident. None of this is." The door of the BMW swung open wider. And suddenly I understood. This wasn't a rescue. It was the beginning of something far bigger than betrayal. The warmth inside the BMW felt unreal, almost too soft against my frozen skin. Leather seats, heated floors, a faint scent of cedar, and something expensive I couldn't name. The woman slid in beside me, no longer shivering, instead radiating a calm power that made the space feel smaller. One of the men closed the door, and the car began moving in perfect synchronization with the others, like a convoy escorting royalty. I pressed my hands together, trying to stop them from shaking. "Can you please tell me what's going on?" She studied me for a moment, her expression unreadable. "My name is Arya Voss," she finally said. The name hit the air like a quiet strike. I'd heard it before, whispered in rumors, news headlines, business forums. A missing heiress. A ghost of $1 billion empire. But she continued, her voice calmer than the thoughts racing in my mind. "I disappeared 3 years ago. Not kidnapped. I walked away. Too many lies, too many people wanting a piece of me." I swallowed. "And tonight?" Her eyes softened. "Tonight, I wanted to see something real again. To feel the world without cameras, guards, obligations." She lifted her foot slightly, my boot still wrapped around it. And then a stranger gave me the only warmth she had left. I didn't know what to say. My family had thrown me out hours ago. Arya Voss, the most sought-after woman in the country, was now looking at me like I was the rare one. She leaned back, her voice lowering. "Marin, you passed a test you didn't know you were taking." The convoy turned down a long, private road. Arya glanced at me with a look that made my heart stop. "And now, I'm going to give you something your family never did." She paused. "A future." The convoy glided through tall iron gates that opened, as if recognizing Arya's return. Beyond them, snow-covered pines lined a wide driveway leading to a massive stone estate, elegant, silent, glowing with warm lights that felt like another world entirely. My breath caught. This is yours." Arya nodded softly. "One of many, but this one matters." Security guards straightened as we passed, not questioning, not hesitating, only bowing their heads to her. I felt impossibly small, yet strangely protected. Inside, the warmth hit me like a blanket. A grand hall stretched out, lit by crystal chandeliers, fireplaces burning at each end. I had never stepped into a place like this, not even in dreams. Arya watched my disbelief, her eyes gentling. "Sit," she said, guiding me to an armchair near the fire. My bare feet tingled painfully as warmth returned, but it felt like being stitched back together. She knelt in front of me, a billionaire heiress kneeling before someone like me. "Marin, I need you to understand something." Her voice carried a weight that made my heart slow. "You didn't just give away boots tonight. You gave away dignity, your own comfort for a stranger." I looked down, embarrassed. I couldn't watch her suffer. Arya smiled, but there was sadness in it. "And that is exactly why I chose you." I blinked. "Chose me for what?" She stood, motioning toward the hallway that stretched deeper into the estate. "To step into a life where your goodness isn't punished but protected." The flames crackled behind her. "And the part your family never imagined?" Her eyes locked onto mine. "You're about to become someone they can never throw away again." Arya led me down a long hallway lined with portraits, not stiff aristocratic ones, but warm, candid oil paintings of people laughing, holding hands, embracing life. Nothing about them felt cold or elite. They felt human. We stopped before a closed door, at the very end. Arya rested her hand on the handle. "Before I open this," she said softly, "you need to know why those 19 cars came for me." I swallowed. "Because you're the heir." Her eyes met mine. "Not just that. I'm the only remaining boss." The words hit heavier than the snow outside. "My family built an empire," she continued, "but they tore each other apart trying to control it. People disappeared, betrayed each other, ran." She looked down at my boots on her feet. "I left because I refused to become like them." And then she opened the door. Inside was a vast room, walls lined with documents, maps, security feeds, genealogy charts. At the center, a long table with a single folder placed neatly on top. Arya walked over, lifted it, and handed it to me. My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside was a profile. My profile. My name. My birthday. My photo, taken without me noticing. Pages of observations. I gasped. You already knew me? Arya nodded. For months. My heart pounded.
Why?
She took a slow breath. Because I needed someone good at heart, someone unconnected, uncorrupted, unclaimed. Her eyes softened. Marin, I wasn't looking for an assistant. She paused. I was looking for an heir of my own choosing. The room spun. My life, the one my family threw away, was being rewritten by the one woman powerful enough to do it. My pulse thundered in my ears. An heir?
Me?
The girl thrown out with a suitcase, barefoot in the snow, mocked at her own dinner table? Arya watched my shock without blinking, as if she'd expected this moment, this exact expression, all along. She stepped closer, her voice a calm thread pulling me back to reality. I studied dozens of candidates, she said. People with perfect resumes, polished faces, flawless manners. She shook her head. None of them passed the one test that mattered. I swallowed. Which test? She touched the boots she still wore, my boots. Giving, even when you have nothing left. My chest tightened. Arya motioned toward the documents covering the walls, security reports, financial analysis, risks, alliances. This empire needs someone who understands humanity more than power. Someone who won't lose herself the moment the world bows to her. Her eyes softened with something like relief. Marin, the night your family threw you away, you didn't harden. You didn't turn cruel. You chose compassion. A lump rose in my throat. But why not choose anyone else? Why risk your entire legacy on me? Arya exhaled. Because kindness saved my life once. I promised myself that if I ever met someone with the same heart, I'd give them everything I no longer wanted stolen from me. Then she placed a small silver key into my hand.
Cold.
Heavy. Final. This unlocks the Voss inheritance wing, she whispered. My breath stilled. If you take that step, Marin, your past ends, and a new life begins. The key glinted between my fingers. My family had left me in the cold, but Arya Voss was offering me a kingdom. The silver key rested in my palm like a heartbeat, small, quiet, but powerful enough to rewrite the story of my entire life. I stared at it, my throat tightening, memories flickering one by one. My father pointing to the door, my mother looking through me, my sister smirking, raising her glass like she was celebrating my ruin, my freezing toes on the bench, the woman, Arya, trembling in the snow, and my hands lifting my boots toward her without hesitation. A simple choice. A human one. The only thing my family never valued. Arya watched me closely, not pressuring, not promising, just offering. You don't owe them the rest of your life, she said softly, but you owe yourself a chance at a new one. My fingers closed around the key. For the first time in years, I felt something warm bloom inside me, not hope exactly, but belonging. Arya smiled, almost relieved. Welcome home, Marin. She guided me down a second hallway to a tall double door carved with the Voss crest. Guards stepped aside. Lights flickered on automatically, illuminating a room filled with velvet seats, antique chests, and a sealed vault waiting for the key in my hand. This wasn't a rescue. It was an inheritance of trust. I turned the key. The lock clicked, deep, echoing, permanent. Behind me, Arya placed a steady hand on my shoulder. Your family threw you away, she whispered, but you were meant to be found. As the vault opened and warm light poured over me, I finally understood. The night I lost everything,